Okay, hello everyone. This is Bill Rand, and welcome to MBA 590 Digital Marketing Week 7. So, in this week, we're going to be talking about user experience. That's what the videos are on about, at least. And a couple other things I just kind of want to discuss as well. So, obviously, you got your project introductions back. If you didn't get a grade, which you probably haven't because I haven't had the grader copy them all over yet, then you should instead contact whoever submitted the assignment, and they should be able to provide you with the grade that you got, right? So you should be able to find out from them. If you're going forward, I think I've set up all the rest so they're actually group projects, so everyone will get a copy of the grade automatically. I just accidentally left the individual button clicked on this one. Also, obviously you'll be getting your individual conceptual assignments back shortly. And hopefully by the end of this weekend, we're still working on it, but hopefully we'll get it out soon. And so if you have any questions or comments about those, let me know. Let me go back real quick and just talk about a couple of insights I have on the group project as it came out. So one of the biggest problems I have with some of the assignments is that they were just laid out as if you were literally just answering the questions on the group project document. That's not what the group project document is for. The group project document is a way to help you think about how to structure your marketing plan. But what I really want is I want the best possible digital marketing plan that you can write. And that means that someone who has never seen the group project document, has no idea about this class, should be able to pick up this document and read it, and it should make sense in and of itself, right? So I don't want a question and answer format. I want a narrative format, right? Now you can have structured sections, right? Like you could have a section that's like introduction, motivation for digital marketing, different things like that, right? But what I don't want is, what is the firm's revenue model? Here's the firm's revenue model, right? That's not what I want, because that's not going to be very persuasive or compelling to a plan, right? Or to a firm that you're just kind of trying to provide this as a plan to. They should be able to take the document, look at it, and read it as if it was a pitch for why they should employ your team as a consulting company, right? So quite a few of the teams in the online class lost a couple of points for that. And the other thing that kind of people sometimes lost some points on, that I saw again a couple of times at least, not a lot, but a couple of times. This is a digital marketing plan, right? This is not a general business plan, right? So as a result, I don't want like all the details. Now you have to provide some details about the business in order for us to understand what the digital marketing plan is. But if the firm is having trouble sourcing organic ingredients, unless that somehow is going to be part of the digital marketing, right? I mean, it might be because maybe they're big into organic ingredients. That's going to be a big part of their marketing, right? Then that's not an issue that you need to talk about in the digital marketing plan. For every kind of paragraph that you write, it's worthwhile thinking to yourself, how is this going to affect digital marketing? And if you can't think of an answer, either delete the paragraph or add some justification explaining why it would or how it would tie into digital marketing, right? So that's it for the group project. On the personal project, the conceptual project, I had a couple of questions about question 3, which was on the earned media, the social ROI. So what I was really looking for there was that you had some discussion that when it comes to social ROI, cash is not what we're really trying to measure most of the time, right? The profits alone was not going to be important, and that is what was covered by both the earned media value concept that was discussed in the article and the social ROI. And then the other thing I was looking is just for you to draw a parallel between when the social ROI reading talks about the fact that really what you're trying to get a return on is getting your consumers to invest their own efforts in spreading your message, spreading your social media concept, that's really what you're looking for, is the investment by consumers in the firm as opposed to a traditional sales return model. And I want you to draw a parallel between that investment and the earned media value, which is described in the article as being the equivalent amount of money that the firm would have spent on advertising for what it's getting free from the customers, right? Okay, so those two things are kind of the big points I was looking for, and hopefully everyone got that, right? And then the other one I had a question about was part 5 about the SMART objective, question 5, right? And some people were saying, I wrote down my SMART objective and it sounded great. And then I realized I wrote down my KPI and it sounded like it was the same thing, like that my KPI was almost embedded in my SMART objective. That's fine. For some SMART objectives, that essentially will happen, right? Like if your SMART objective is something like we will increase visits to our website by 10% in the next 6 months, right? Then counting visits to the website is your KPI, right? So it's kind of in there. But if one of your SMART objectives is we will increase brand awareness of the firm by 10% in 6 months, right? There's really no indication of how you're actually going to measure. In fact, that's probably not a good SMART objective because it's not specific enough, right? But one of the KPIs could be, we'll do a random internet survey, or we'll stop people on the street outside near the business, right? Things like that, right? So sometimes the KPI and the SMART objective are not the same, but sometimes they are. Or I wouldn't say they're the same. It's just the KPI can almost be part of the SMART objective in some cases. Cool. So that's what I want to talk about with regards to the group projects and the individual projects. The next deadline that you have coming up is March 1st, so it's not too far away, and that's your situation analysis. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today toward the end. But before I get there, I wanted to mention one thing. I was going over my slides for the search advertising section, and I noticed that one of the columns of figures was wrong. And I put a comment on the video that's up on YouTube about this, so hopefully if you've actually go to the video, you'll see it. It's the last slide, the last video on search advertising. And there's a table where I talk about clicks and impressions and click-through rates, and one of the numbers I talk about is conversion rate, and that column is incorrect. For some reason, it just has the wrong numbers in it. I think I was fiddling around with the numbers to kind of get some different scenarios going on, and I screwed that one up. I've updated the slides, so the new slide deck that's on Moodle will actually be correct. And I've also added a comment in the YouTube video that explains what the actual number should be in that column, right? Unfortunately, I won't be able to update the video probably right now, so because I'm trying to record more videos on tools and stuff like that. But just to let you be aware that the conversion rate numbers in the search advertising slides in the video are incorrect. Okay. So yeah, so that I think is it for all the stuff I wanted to talk about that happened in the past. I do want to talk about the situation and marketing goals. But before I do that, I want to mention I want to apologize. Someone tried to ask a question on YouTube just as I was closing down the stream last time, and I missed it. And I apologize to whoever that was. I didn't even see what the question was because of the way I was closing it down. So I just saw a name pop up, and I think it was something to do with the conceptual assignment. I'm not sure. I'm sorry for that. In the future, right, if you're going to ask questions on the pop up, turn up that volume so you don't get feedback. In the future, if you're going to ask questions on the YouTube channel, or you're going to email or tweet at me, try and make sure that they're in closer towards the beginning of the office hours. So if you want to ask a question, I see there's 6 people watching right now. So if any of you want to ask a question, feel free to shoot it as soon as you want. Don't wait until the end. So again, I apologize to whoever I missed. I'm sorry about that. But try and get the questions in earlier. I'm doing this all by myself, and sometimes I miss things occasionally. So the earlier you get in, the more likely I am to see it. Okay, so let me quickly check through. So there is none on the YouTube live stream right now. Any questions that I see? I checked the email just before, and there weren't any major ones that came in. Let me see, just in case, check to see if there's anything that's come in. And then let me check Twitter as well, see if anything's come in that way. Okay. It does not appear that anything's come in on Twitter recently. And no email questions. Again, the only email question I can remember that definitely happened since the last time we chatted was someone asked about where to find their introduction grade, and right now you have to contact the person who originally handed in the grade, right? So whoever that is will probably have a copy of it. So that's the one question I definitely know came up before. I'm gonna hopefully once the grader is done grading the conceptual assignments, I'll have him move over and copy over some of those grades so everyone can see it. There was also a really interesting discussion. Someone sent in a question. They liked the search advertising videos, and they mentioned that a lot of the companies are actually moving to more programmatic advertising. So I describe the search in the search advertising videos. I describe it almost as if someone was manually running these campaigns. But in reality, nowadays, a lot of people have moved to a programmatic. I wouldn't say a lot, but there's still a lot of companies that are using the old Google AdWords setup. But some companies, at least, have started to move over to a programmatic solution where different ads are shown to different people based upon their IP addresses and their qualifications, right? Like their demographics and psychographics. And in those cases, one comment I would make is just that they're not being shown the same ad every single time. So it might very well depend upon the individual person, right? And you might be bidding separately for each person. So that's slightly different than the way it's presented in the search advertising. I would, even though that idea of programmatic advertising is expanding, currently it is only being used at some of the top companies, right? But, maybe much bigger than that in the near future. So just keep an eye out for programmatic advertising. Programmatic advertising. I did have one question about the length requirements for the environmental situation analysis marketing goals. Remember, as a whole, the document should be about 10 to 15 pages. This is going to be a big chunk of it. The other big chunk will be tactics and control, which we'll talk about next. So given the fact that it's a big chunk of 10 to 15 pages, then probably somewhere in the vicinity of 4 to 7 pages is appropriate. But really, I don't want to put any length requirements on this. It's up to you to kind of address the question as you need be for the situation analysis. Okay, I think everything else we've kind of gone through. Yep. Yeah, so I think that's good. Okay, so let me just run back through. Okay, look, everything looks good. So let me flip over and start talking. Well, let me flip over to Moodle real quick. So this is Moodle, and as you can see, right, what you should be doing this week is watching the week 7 videos 1 through 6, which are on user experiences or user experience design. Let's see, we'll scroll down to it, right? And then there's also a couple bonus videos on Balsamiq and Glyphy, which are tools that you can use to help you with website design and prototyping, right? So those might be tools you want to use for your final project, for instance. Okay. So in addition to that, right, the other things you're going to need to do, look over your group project introductions, conceptual assignments, and let me know if you have any questions about them. And then there's a new reading up, and this is kind of a set of readings, if you will, on the Facebook newsfeed and user experience, right? Mark Zuckerberg last month, and this is actually suggested by one of your classmates as a reading, Mark Zuckerberg last month announced that they would be dramatically changing the newsfeed to focus more on community interactions, right? So that your interactions with your friends and family rather than your interactions with companies, right? And so this is kind of a change they're making to the user experience that users have, right, on Facebook. So I posted, 2 articles. I posted a New York Times article. I also posted a link to Mark Zuckerberg's original statement on Facebook. I highly encourage you to kind of read those 2 at least. And then in addition, I also added a podcast that you might want to listen to. Let me pull this up real quick so you can see it. I also added a podcast you might want to listen to and an academic paper, basically, that describes how Facebook undermines well-being, which is partially why, was part of the things that they're responding to with this statement. So take a look at it. I ask you to consider, right, kind of the what this means, what the user experience design changes mean for the users, right, for Facebook, right, for the marketers, right, and for all the other companies. Again, these are also just questions to think about, not necessarily where you have to stop and end. Okay. So finally, let's talk a little bit about situation analysis. So this is coming up on March 1st, which isn't too far away. It's a week and some change that is due, right? So the situation analysis, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, week and a day that's due. So the marketing and situation analysis is going to have you. Oh, I'm down at the bottom of it. That's what was confusing me. It's going to have you assess the market, right? So who is the target market? Where are they located? What websites do that target market visit, right? What social media tools they use. That'll help you obviously design the digital marketing. What will encourage the target markets to use the sites, who is the estimated size of the market, who is the competition. You might want to even think about kind of going around and grading the competition, how good their digital marketing efforts are. What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the firm, right? And so that's all makes sense. And then for some reason the number is off, I just realized. So number 6 then is marketing objectives and goals, right? And this is laying out 3 to 5 SMART goals, so specific, measurable, attainable or assignable, realistic, and timely goals, and an explanation of what those goals and KPIs to how to measure the success of those goals. I will say right off the bat that the number one place that teams often lose points is that they don't define SMART goals, right? That they're not specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Every goal should be all 5 of those things, right? Some people seem to think that when I say 3 to 5 SMART goals, they mean, a specific goal or a measurable goal or a timely goal. No, I'm saying 3 to 5 goals, each of which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, right? And then explanation why that's an important goal for digital marketing and a KPI for it, right? So this is coming due fairly soon, about a week and a day. So hopefully you'll have had a chance to kind of look over it and start to get it put together with your team. Okay, yeah. So that's the situation analysis. Again, the most important aspect of this is really kind of lay out where the firm is sitting, what it has to deal with, what it has to kind of defend against, what it has to attack. What potential problems it might be facing, and that's all there to help you think about what the digital marketing campaign should be. So it's not an end in of itself, it's to help you think about the digital marketing campaign. Given all that assessment you've just done, now lay out 3 to 5 SMART goals, a justification for those SMART goals, and a KPI. This list could literally just be, bullets where the first sentence of the bullet is the actual SMART goal. The next sentence is why that's an important SMART goal for the firm's perspective. And then the next sentence is a KPI that will be used to measure the achievement of that SMART goal, right? And then just repeat that 3 to 5 times, and you have the section. What's in that? Section 7 should be section 6, right? The SMART goal section. In general, this section is supposed to be talking about kind of what the situation of the firm is. And one thing you might want to do and consider is actually conduct some sort of survey, right, in order to figure out how consumers are interacting with the firm. And that might be useful to you as you go forward with the project. So that's basically everything I wanted to say about the situation analysis and marketing goals. If there aren't any more questions, I think we're close to being done for the day. But I think that's it. I highly recommend you kind of get started on that quickly since it's due soon. And I will attempt to get you back your conceptual assignment soon. You've got your project introduction, so you have that to build off of. Right, and then when you get the situation analysis and marketing goals done, right, and turned in, then the course really starts to set itself out, because what's going to happen is week 8 is going to be web design, and then we're going to have a break for spring break, And then week 9 is group meetings, and we're going to talk about, and I'm going to meet with each of you. I'll set up a time to meet with each of you to talk about how the project is going. Okay? So that's it for now from me. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But otherwise, I will see you in about a week. And you'll see an email from me before then. Okay? Take care.